While the world was busy watching Tesla tweet, a shadow empire was being built, slowly but surely, and now it's too late. A company most Americans still cannot pronounce is building 30,000 electric vehicles a day. Not tomorrow, not coming soon, today. And it's not just another startup, it's BYD, a silent juggernaut from China that's already crushed Tesla in revenue, volume, and speed. This isn't a rivalry, it's a regime change, and the world hasn't caught up to that headline yet. But how did Tesla go from global tech hero to second place without anyone noticing? Why are governments quietly handing over their fleets to a Chinese automaker? And could your next car come from a company you've never even considered, the factory that never sleeps? In Shenzhen, the lights never dim, they pulse with precision. At the heart of BYD's dominance is not just its ambition, but its unmatched ability to manufacture at a scale and speed that defies industry norms. Where legacy automakers depend on tangled supply chains and unpredictable suppliers, BYD operates like a machine it built itself, because it did. This is not just mass production, it is controlled mass creation. Every element of the process, from the battery chemistry to the chip design, from body welding to final inspections, is managed under one roof. There are no delays because there are no external variables. The entire operation runs like a closed ecosystem, efficient, fast, and alarmingly consistent. Tesla's gigafactories were once the envy of the world. Now, BYD's output has left them in the dust. It is not about who builds the biggest factory anymore. It is about who uses every square foot to its maximum potential. BYD is running factories at a velocity and rhythm more akin to the semiconductor industry than traditional automaking. And that rhythm is contagious. With every car rolling off the line faster and cheaper than any Western competitor can manage, BYD isn't just building cars, it is building a new industrial language, the supply chain Tesla can't match. They're not faster because they cut corners, they're faster because they own the whole system, every nut, bolt, chip, and cell. While Tesla relies on global suppliers and negotiates parts across borders, BYD simply walks across the hallway. Their mastery of vertical integration is not a buzzword. It is the core reason why they are now outmaneuvering even the most celebrated innovators. The company doesn't just make its own batteries. It builds its own semiconductors. It manufactures the motors, the drive units, the circuit boards, even the raw materials processing. Most automakers operate like orchestras, trying to synchronize dozens of suppliers with thousands of parts. One delay in one factory can throw off an entire production schedule. BYD is a solo instrument, playing the entire symphony itself, without relying on outside players. And this edge is not just theoretical. It shows up in delivery timelines, cost structure, and margin. When Tesla hit battery shortages in the year 2023, BYD scaled up without blinking. When chip shortages crippled Western factories, BYD opened new lines. Efficiency like this doesn't just beat the competition, it embarrasses them. And it all started with one move most investors barely noticed. The Buffett bet that started it all. In the year 2008, while most of the auto industry was still mocking electric cars, Warren Buffett quietly made one of the boldest investments of his career. Through Berkshire Hathaway, he purchased a 10% stake in BYD for $230 million United States dollars. At the time, it raised eyebrows. Buffett wasn't known for chasing tech trends. He had avoided companies like Apple and Google for years, but he saw something in BYD that others didn't. Not hype, not buzz, but focus, discipline, and an unshakable grip on efficiency. That move gave BYD more than capital. It gave them credibility. The world began to take notice. Chinese regulators leaned in. International press started paying attention. The company expanded from batteries into plug-in hybrids, then into full electric vehicles, then into buses, trucks, and municipal fleets. Buffett's backing wasn't just financial, it was philosophical. He bet on the idea that long-term, self-reliant manufacturing would win, and he was right. The real story here isn't just about money, it is about time. That investment gave BYD the time to scale quietly, to experiment, to fail in the shadows, and to come out ready for global dominance. While Tesla was unveiling prototypes and live-streaming launches, BYD was putting rubber on the road. We dug through years of overlooked reports, investor moves, and manufacturing shifts to bring this story to light. If it saved you time or gave you a new lens, consider subscribing. That's how we keep the real research coming. And now, as investors scramble to understand how BYD pulled ahead so fast, they might want to look back at the man who saw it coming more than a decade and a half ago. BYD's factories are humming, its supply chains are self-owned, and its credibility is locked in. But what's under the hood? That's where the real revolution begins. Because BYD didn't just rethink the car, it redefined the battery, the chemistry, and the very architecture of electric vehicles themselves. The blade battery, and the end of EV fires. If you've ever hesitated to buy an electric vehicle because of battery fires, you're not alone. Thermal runaway has haunted the electric revolution from the start, but BYD found a way to kill that fear, literally with a blade. The blade battery doesn't just outperform, it outlasts, outcools, and outsurvives every major EV battery on the road. While traditional lithium-ion cells fail the infamous nail penetration test in spectacular fashion, exploding, igniting, melting, BYD's blade didn't even flinch. No flame, no smoke, just silence and stability. This battery uses lithium iron phosphate chemistry, known in technical circles as LFP. It skips expensive cobalt. It avoids volatile nickel. It relies on iron and phosphate, two materials that are cheap, abundant, and safe. But BYD didn't stop at choosing the right elements. They restructured the cell entirely. Inside a blade battery, ultra-thin cells are arranged side by side, like samurai swords in a case. The result? Superior thermal management, greater surface area for cooling, and a structure that remains intact even under catastrophic conditions. In a world of recalls and lawsuits, this isn't just innovation, it's insurance. It's also the foundation of trust. Entire taxi fleets in China now rely on blade-equipped vehicles. City governments are ditching gas-powered fleets because the risk has disappeared. When it comes to safety, BYD made the question obsolete. And while competitors tried to catch up on chemistry, BYD made its next move, one that might erase range anxiety forever. The chemistry war no one talks about. Most automakers made the same mistake. They raced toward nickel-manganese cobalt batteries, NMC for short, chasing high energy density while ignoring long-term risks. The cost was obvious, ethical concerns were worse, and BYD walked the other way. Cobalt comes from the Congo. Nickel, too, is under increasing geopolitical strain. Mining these elements often involves child labor, environmental destruction, and toxic waste. Yet for years, automakers relied on them because they promised more energy in less space. BYD said no. They doubled down on LFP, batteries with no cobalt, no nickel, and fewer ethical compromises. And now with the blade battery, they've closed the performance gap completely. How? By redesigning how the cells are packed, cooled, and used. While Tesla slowly began offering LFP batteries in their standard models, sourced from external suppliers, BYD was already manufacturing its own, optimizing them with proprietary software and physical structure. The result is not just a cleaner battery, it's a smarter one. There's also longevity. Most batteries degrade heavily after 1,000 cycles. The blade battery, it retains over 80% of its capacity after 3,000. That means longer vehicle life, lower maintenance, and more confidence for fleet buyers. This isn't just chemistry. It's a moral high ground, a cost advantage, and a manufacturing lead all rolled into one. And while everyone else is still debating the ethics of cobalt, BYD was already eliminating the problem at scale. Then they tackled something even more sacred than safety or sourcing: charging time. The Super E platform that charges in 5 minutes. You cannot have an electric future if people are still worried about finding a charger. Range anxiety has been the enemy of EV adoption from day one, and BYD just killed it in 5 minutes. The Super E platform is their latest electric vehicle architecture, and it isn't just fast, it's record-breaking. With a 1,000 kilowatt charging capacity, the platform can deliver up to 400 kilometers of range in the time it takes to grab a coffee. To put this in perspective, Tesla's fastest superchargers top out around 250 kilowatts. Even Tesla's upcoming 4th-generation chargers don't cross the 1,000 kilowatt threshold. BYD's system already does. And it's not a prototype. It's ready for production. This isn't just a speed bump for Tesla, it's a structural blow. Because BYD doesn't just make the vehicle, they also control the battery, the software, and the charging infrastructure. That vertical integration means the whole system works together, with minimal loss and maximal efficiency. Range anxiety doesn't just go away, it becomes irrelevant. And in markets like India, Brazil, and Southeast Asia, where charging networks are still developing. That makes BYD the most practical EV brand on earth. Speed changed the game. But then BYD did something even more disruptive. They offered all of this at a price nobody thought possible, the EV we were promised, delivered by BYD. Every auto company loves to talk about affordability. They dangle the $25,000 EV like it's a carrot on a stick. Tesla promised one for years. BYD just delivered it. In fact, they went even lower. The Seagull, a compact BYD EV, sells in China for around $10,000 United States dollars. It accelerates faster than many gasoline cars, features modern infotainment, and comes equipped with a Blade battery. In Europe, models like the Dolphin and Seal undercut the Tesla Model 3 by thousands, while matching or exceeding its features. And they're not junk. These are well-designed, spacious, tech-loaded machines built for the real world. No gimmicks, no hype, just vehicles that work, last, and cost less. Tesla once claimed the crown of the affordable premium EV. That crown is gone. BYD didn't wait for headlines. They priced their way into market dominance, especially in countries where the average household income makes the difference between $30,000 and $40,000 a deal breaker. In Italy and Spain, BYD outsold Tesla in the year 2024. The reason? Value. In a world of inflation, high interest rates, and fuel uncertainty, price wins. And BYD knows it. This isn't just about being cheaper. It's about fulfilling the promise the EV industry made over a decade ago, a promise to make clean, modern transportation truly accessible. BYD isn't just beating Tesla on specs, safety, or price. It's doing something far more dangerous, embedding itself in governments, transit systems, and cities around the world. This isn't just a product strategy anymore. It's a global takeover plan in motion. Not just cars, a transportation empire. Most automakers fight for customers. BYD fights for systems. And that's a very different kind of war. Tesla, Ford, General Motors, and Volkswagen all dominate news cycles with product launches. BYD dominates city streets, quietly, consistently, and at scale. While Western automakers were focused on passenger vehicles and quarterly earnings calls, BYD was quietly embedding itself into the backbone of transportation itself. It began with buses. Today, BYD's electric buses are running routes in Los Angeles, shuttling travelers at airports in Bogota, and replacing diesel fleets in Thailand. These aren't promotional prototypes or press event showcases. These are real vehicles, moving real people, under real government contracts. Once a fleet contract is won, the domino effect begins. Charging hubs, maintenance depots, mechanic training programs, and local political buy-in. Then came the taxis. Entire Chinese cities, including Shenzhen and Xi'an, now use BYD plug-in hybrids or electric vehicles as their dominant taxi model. Why? Lower cost of ownership, longer lifespan, Blade battery safety, and seamless performance. What began as a low-emission experiment turned into a logistical revolution. Governments realized they weren't just buying a cleaner vehicle. They were buying a turnkey transit solution. It didn't stop there. Delivery vans, rideshare vehicles, commuter shuttles. BYD infiltrated every niche. And because each of these sectors requires infrastructure, it meant BYD wasn't just supplying transportation. It was guiding regulation, rewiring city plans, and becoming indispensable to public operations. And just when it seemed like BYD had conquered every corner of the map except America, they found a back door. Not through Silicon Valley, not through Washington, but through something far more strategic. A factory plan south of the border that could change everything. The Mexico play. How BYD is invading the United States legally. The United States has done everything it can to block Chinese automakers from flooding the market. Tariffs, trade rules, regulatory hurdles, and still, BYD found a way in. How? Mexico. There are strong, credible signals that BYD is setting up a factory just south of the US border. If it opens under the framework of the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, commonly known as USMCA, BYD's vehicles could legally enter the American market with little to no tariff burden. That would give BYD what every foreign automaker dreams of: access to the biggest car market in the world, without a shipping bottleneck and without a customs fight. And it would catch most lawmakers flat-footed. This isn't some vague corporate rumor. BYD has already begun establishing supply chain partnerships in North America. It has held meetings with Mexican officials. The infrastructure is being sketched, the land surveyed, the workforce mapped out. The genius of this strategy isn't just legal, it's psychological. American consumers might bristle at made in China, but assembled in Mexico. That flies under the radar. It feels local, familiar, politically safe. BYD knows that public perception is everything, and their move into Mexico offers plausible deniability on both sides of the border. Meanwhile, Detroit trembles. Once BYD's vehicles start rolling out of Mexican plants with 5-digit price tags, Tesla won't be able to spin its way out of comparison. Ford and General Motors won't be able to undercut that kind of vertical integration. And legacy union contracts will make it almost impossible to compete on cost per vehicle without painful layoffs or subsidy demands. It's not just a clever entry, it's a strategic ambush, and it's already in motion. Europe cracks first. The Western Front falls. If you had told European automakers a decade ago that a Chinese company would outsell their prized brands on their home turf, they would have laughed. No one is laughing now. In the year 2024, BYD outsold Tesla in Italy and Spain. These weren't one-off surprises. They were symptoms of a deeper shift. German dealerships are now placing bulk orders for BYD models. British consumers are comparing the Dolphin to the Renault Zoe and choosing BYD. Even French car reviewers, notoriously loyal to local marques, are praising BYD's build quality. What changed? Everything. European consumers are squeezed by rising energy costs. Government incentives are shifting toward fleet electrification. Younger drivers are more open to non-European brands. And most importantly, BYD's vehicles aren't just cheaper, they're better equipped. Blade battery safety, long lifespan, efficient hybrid options, and no-nonsense pricing make for a compelling offer. Legacy automakers, weighed down by bureaucracy, inflexible supply chains, and dated EV tech, are struggling to keep pace. Their software glitches are mounting. Their range figures are falling behind. Their charging networks are still underfunded. Meanwhile, BYD rolls in with working product, better warranties, and faster service intervals. And once again, fleet contracts follow. Municipalities in Spain are adopting BYD buses. Logistics providers in the Netherlands are testing BYD delivery vans. In Poland and Hungary, new BYD factories are being proposed to serve local markets, cut shipping costs, and qualify for European Union incentives. This isn't just market expansion, it's conquest. And Europe, long considered immune to foreign automotive dominance, is now learning what happens when it underestimates quiet innovation. When governments become customers, they don't switch. Individual buyers shop with emotion. Governments shop with permanence. And right now, governments are betting big on BYD. Why? Because BYD delivers. In South America, BYD has become the go-to choice for municipal buses, offering clean emissions, long battery life, and low maintenance overhead. In Asia, cities like Jakarta and Manila are drawing up purchase orders for BYD taxi fleets and transport solutions. In Africa, pilot programs are underway to electrify public routes using BYD vehicles. Each of these moves locks in more than just revenue. They generate visibility, infrastructure changes, public familiarity, and once those elements are in place, switching becomes almost impossible. You don't just swap out 500 city buses overnight. You don't rewire your transit maintenance hubs because a new brand offered a marginally better price. You stick with what's proven, and BYD knows it. They're not competing for mind share, they're competing for systems. If you can install a fleet, train the drivers, deliver on time, and meet safety expectations, you win the long game. And no one else in the EV space is playing that game better. Even Tesla, once seen as the technology leader, has failed to offer comparable fleet packages at the same reliability and cost profile. And companies like Ford or Stellantis are still struggling to electrify their heavy-duty portfolios. Governments want two things: simplicity and stability. BYD brings both, with factory direct pricing, vertically integrated supply chains, and vehicles that just work. And when your customers are presidents, ministers, and mayors, you don't need a Super Bowl ad to dominate. But here's the twist. BYD isn't winning because it builds better cars. It's winning because it builds better systems. And while Western automakers obsess over horsepower and headlines, BYD is quietly conquering something far more permanent: the physical and political map of the future. BYD isn't winning the tech war. it's winning the map. What good is breakthrough technology if you cannot deliver it everywhere it matters? BYD solved that puzzle by redrawing the world's mobility map. The company does not cherry-pick wealthy capitals. It colonizes overlooked corridors first, then circles back to headline markets. In Southeast Asia, blade-powered taxis already glide through Jakarta traffic. In Eastern Europe, municipalities from Budapest to Sofia are drafting budget proposals that name BYD buses as the default option. In Latin America, purchase orders for electric garbage trucks are negotiated in the same breath as federal road grants. This logistical pincer works because BYD owns every layer: battery minerals, semiconductor fabs, motor casings, final assembly. There is no waiting on foreign suppliers, no frantic bids for scarce chips, no last-minute price hikes. Governments see a vendor that can sign, deliver, and service without excuses, so they rewrite procurement rules around that reliability. Each closed deal becomes a beachhead that locks in charging depots, mechanic training, and brand familiarity. When those pieces click together, rivals discover the terrain has shifted beneath their wheels. How Toyota, Ford, and Volkswagen got cornered. Legacy automakers once believed scale alone would shield them. Instead, that bulk became ballast. Their hybrid strategies stalled on internal arguments over nickel-manganese-cobalt versus lithium-iron-phosphate chemistry. Their software divisions missed deadlines, leaving buyers rebooting dashboards like smartphones from 2010. Their battery plants arrived late, over budget, and under capacity. Meanwhile, BYD refined vertical integration into an industrial art form. Its in-house chips removed dependence on Taiwanese foundries. Its blade battery cut cobalt costs to zero. Its Super DM hybrids achieved thermal efficiency beyond 43%. By the time Toyota announced a pivot to lithium iron phosphate cells, BYD had already iterated 3 generations. Ford focused on North American pickup electrification, while BYD shipped compact crossovers into Europe for thousands of euros less. Volkswagen promised an over-the-air update to fix range glitches. BYD simply replaced entire taxi fleets whose drivers cannot afford downtime. The giants are not just behind on technology, they are trapped by sunk facilities, legacy unions, and brand promises they can no longer fund without raising prices. Every quarter they delay, the cost gap widens, and the narrative tilts further in Shenzhen's favor. The EV war is already over. We just haven't admitted it. Public perception still clings to the myth that Tesla, the Silicon Valley pioneer, leads the charge. Yet hard metrics tell a different story. In the year 2024, BYD's revenue crossed 107 billion United States dollars, eclipsing Tesla's 97 billion. Vehicle deliveries reached 4.27 million units, quadruple Ford's electric tally, double Volkswagen's, and decisively ahead of Tesla's total output. Market share follows momentum. Italy and Spain now register more BYD passenger cars than Tesla. Germany's taxi unions lobby for blade battery safety incentives. California school districts quietly sign multi-year contracts for BYD buses, while federal policymakers debate tariff tweaks that arrive too late to matter. Analysts on Bloomberg and Reuters have begun using a new phrase, post-Tesla era, to explain sliding investor confidence whenever Elon Musk unveils another delayed prototype. Numbers close narratives. Once shareholders accept that profitability favors the quiet chemist over the loud founder, capital will chase returns, not memes. At that moment, the war's result will feel obvious, because it already is. The final shift from Silicon Valley to Shenzhen. Every industrial age crowns a new capital. Detroit ruled assembly lines. Wolfsburg perfected lean platforms. Silicon Valley digitized dashboards. The next epicenter is Shenzhen, and the coronation is complete. Shenzhen's advantage is not cheap labor. Wages have climbed steadily for a decade, but deep integration. Battery labs sit 1 metro stop from chip packaging plants. Software teams work in the same block as stamping presses. Product managers walk between factories and shipping ports during a lunch break. Feedback cycles measured in days rather than quarters let BYD roll improvements into production before competitors have approved the budget. This intimacy between design and delivery births a different corporate culture. Quiet, methodical, relentless. No live-streamed stunts, no celebrity keynotes, no half-finished vehicles pushed on stage. Just contracts signed, buses shipped, and balance sheets that grow thicker by the quarter. For consumers, the shift shows up as lower sticker prices, safer chemistries, and shorter wait times. For politicians, it appears as clean air targets met without subsidy overruns. For rival executives, it feels like gravity getting stronger every time BYD opens another plant, in Mexico, in Hungary, and Thailand, multiplying logistics hubs that no tariff wall can fully block. When future historians trace the moment the electric transition tipped irreversibly eastward, they will not cite a single blockbuster launch. They will point to an accumulation of unglamorous wins: municipal bus depots draped in red ribbons, hybrid taxicabs ticking silent miles, and a chemist-turned-industrialist who believed scale was pointless unless it spanned the globe. The age of personality-driven disruption is finished. The era of vertically integrated precision has begun, and its capital letters are BYD. So now the question is, do you think Tesla can reclaim the crown, or has BYD already rewritten the future of driving for good? Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think in the comments below.